You ever pick up a plain white t-shirt at Walmart for $6, then see basically the same shirt at some eco boutique for $28? The only difference is a little green leaf tag that says organic cotton, and your brain short circuits. You think who's getting robbed here? Me or the other guy? I used to think it was a scam too, until I spent 2 weeks driving through West Texas and North Carolina talking to farmers, gin operators, dye house guys, and the people who sign the checks. What I found is that organic cotton is not expensive because of marketing. It is expensive because the entire supply chain is a pain in the butt from dirt to doorstep. And after you hear what goes into it, that $28 price tag starts to make twisted sense. Let me give you the stuff most people get completely wrong about organic cotton, because if you are going to drop triple the cash, or if you are going to boycott it, you should at least know what you are actually paying for. First myth, people think organic means no spray, no nothing, just happy cotton plants dancing in the sun. Nope. Organic cotton still gets sprayed. The difference is what they use. Regular cotton in America is one of the most chemically addicted crops we grow. It takes up a tiny slice of our farmland, but drinks down something like 16% of all insecticides used in the United States. That is wild. Organic rules say you cannot use synthetic stuff like glyphosate or neonics or petroleum-based fertilizers, but you can use natural pesticides, things like neem oil, garlic spray, soap, vinegar, even bacteria that kill caterpillars. Those sound cute, but they're weaker and they wash off when it rains. So farmers spray more often. More labor, more tractor fuel, more passes through the field. And those natural products cost more per gallon than the hard stuff. So you're not paying for no chemicals. You're paying for picky chemicals and a lot more of them. Second thing people mess up, the seeds. In America, about 94% of all cotton planted is genetically modified. Those GMO seeds are built to survive weed killer and to poison the bugs that bite the plant. They are efficient. They are cheap. They work. Organic farmers cannot touch them. USDA rules say organic cotton has to come from non-GMO seed, and that seed cannot have synthetic coatings on it. That already wipes out almost the whole seed market. So organic farmers are calling seed dealers in March begging for leftovers. Less supply means the seed costs more. And because that seed does not have bug-killing traits built in, the crop is more vulnerable. If worms hit, the farmer might lose 30% of the field instead of 5%. When you have a higher risk of total failure, you have to charge more per pound just to survive a bad year. That risk premium lives in your t-shirt. Third secret, weeds will bankrupt you. On a conventional cotton farm in Mississippi, the farmer runs a sprayer across the field a few times, and the weeds give up. Cost is maybe $40 an acre. On an organic farm in California, you cannot do that. You have to till. You have to hoe. You have to run a machine that basically tickles the weeds to death. Or you hire crews to walk the rows with a hoe in 105-degree heat. Some farms even use flamethrowers mounted on tractors that toast the weeds. It works, but diesel is not free and labor in America is brutal. One farmer near Lubbock showed me his books. His weed control bill for 200 acres of organic was higher than his entire chemical bill used to be when he farmed conventional. And that is before you pay workers' comp. So when you see that price tag, part of it is literally paying a dude to pull weeds by hand so you can have a clean conscience. Fourth, the yield problem, and this is the one that makes farmers cry. Organic cotton fields in the United States average 20 to 40% less lint per acre than conventional fields. Same sun, same rain, same land, way less cotton. Imagine you run a bakery and the government says you cannot use modern ovens, you have to use wood fire, and suddenly you can only make 60 loaves a day instead of 100. Your rent did not change. Your electric bill did not change. Your payroll did not change. Yeah, the only way to stay open is to charge more per loaf. Farms are the same. If you get 500 pounds of lint per acre instead of 800 pounds, each pound has to carry more of the land payment, the tractor payment, the insurance. That math alone jacks the price. Fifth, the gin drama. After cotton is picked, it goes to a gin to separate the fluffy stuff from the seeds. Here is the kicker. If a gin processed regular cotton on Tuesday, it cannot run organic on Wednesday unless the entire building gets cleaned top to bottom. The USDA says even a handful of conventional cotton dust can contaminate an organic bale and kill its certification. So gins have two choices. They either go 100% organic and turn away 90% of their customers, or they shut down for hours, blow out every pipe, vacuum every corner, and then run organic. That downtime costs money. The gin charges the organic farmer a premium to cover lost hours. I talked to a gin manager in Georgia who said his organic cleaning fee adds about 8 cents per pound before the cotton even leaves the building. That is before spinning, knitting, sewing, anything, just to get it clean. Sixth, spinning and knitting get hit too. Regular cotton can be spun in any mill. Organic has to be kept separate. Mills need dedicated lines, or they need to purge machines between runs. That means wasted fiber and wasted time. Then when it gets to knitting or weaving, the same deal. If a machine made polyester tees yesterday, it needs a full clean before it can touch organic cotton. Factories hate downtime, so they charge more for short organic runs. And most organic orders are short because the market is smaller. Smaller runs mean higher cost per shirt. It is like printing books. Printing 10,000 copies is cheap per book. Printing 500 copies costs way more each. Organic is usually the 500 copy job. Seventh, the dye house is where prices get stupid. Conventional dyeing uses cheap synthetic dyes and chlorine bleach. It is fast and the colors stick. Organic standards, especially GOTS, ban a lot of that stuff. No chlorine bleach, no heavy metals, no toxic fixatives. So they use hydrogen peroxide to bleach, which is slower. They use low impact dyes or plant dyes, which take longer to set and sometimes need more water and heat. If the color fails, they have to re-dye the whole batch. Re-dyes kill margins. A dye house in North Carolina told me their cost to do an organic compliant black is almost double because the failure rate is higher and the process is slower. Your black organic hoodie is expensive because they cannot take shortcuts. Eighth, paperwork and cops. To use the word organic in America, you need USDA certification. But that is just the farm. If you want to claim the shirt is organic, you need certification at every step. The farm pays, the gin pays, the spinner pays, the knitter pays, the dye house pays, the cutter pays, the sewing factory pays. Each one gets inspected once a year, plus surprise visits. Each one pays fees. One small brand in Los Angeles showed me their cert stack. They pay $22,000 a year just to keep the certificates active across their supply chain. They make 40,000 shirts a year. Do the math. That is 55 cents per shirt just for paperwork before you even talk about cotton. And if one document is wrong, the whole batch gets downgraded and they lose money. Ninth, storage and shipping. Organic cotton cannot touch conventional cotton in a warehouse or a truck. If a forklift drips hydraulic fluid on a conventional bale and then picks up an organic bale, contamination risk. So warehouses need separate bays, trucks need separate loads or a full washout. That kills efficiency. You cannot just toss everything on one 18-wheeler. You send a half-empty truck because it is the only way to keep it clean. Freight companies charge for that with diesel prices and driver shortages. Those fees are real. Your T-shirt rode in a limo instead of a bus. 10th, money and time. Regular cotton farmers can use futures contracts, crop insurance, and subsidies that are built for the conventional system. Organic farmers have fewer tools. Banks see them as riskier. Loans cost more. Insurance costs more. And it takes 3 years of no synthetic chemicals to transition a field to certified organic. 3 years of higher costs and lower yields before you can't even sell as organic. Most farmers cannot cash flow that. So the ones who do it need higher prices to make the math work. You are paying for that 3-year hole. Let me give you an analogy so this sticks. Regular cotton is like fast food. McDonald's can sell you a cheeseburger for $2 because they buy beef by the rail car, they freeze it, they cook it in 90 seconds, and they sell 1 million of them. Organic cotton is like your grandma making burgers from a cow she raised. She butchered it herself, ground it this morning, hand-formed the patties, and cooked them on a cast iron that she seasoned for 20 years. Her burger costs $14. Is she scamming you? No. Her process is just slower and smaller. You are paying for her time, her risk, and the fact she cannot scale to McDonald's levels. Same idea. Here's my personal stake. I am not a trust fund kid. I grew up in Ohio buying packs of Fruit of the Loom and wearing them until they had holes. I thought organic was for celebrities. Then I stood in an organic field in New Mexico. The farmer let his grandkids run between the rows. Bees were everywhere. There were birds. In the conventional field across the road, it was silent, no bugs, no birds, just cotton. That farmer told me he switched to organic after his brother got sick from spraying. He makes less money now and works more hours, but he sleeps better. I am not saying you have to buy organic. I still buy regular shirts for yard work. But when I buy something that sits on my skin for 12 hours a day, I think about that field. That is my bias. I saw the trade. Now the tips if you want to buy organic without going broke. First, check the percentage. If the tag says 5% organic cotton, you are paying a story tax. Look for 95% or higher. Second, look for GOTS on the tag. USDA organic only covers the farm. GOTS covers the whole supply chain, including the dye house and sewing factory. Third, buy heavyweight. A thin organic tee for $32 will be see-through in a year. A 14-ounce organic hoodie for $90 might last a decade. Cost per wear is what matters. Fourth, shop secondhand. Organic cotton does not expire. A used GOTS hoodie on eBay is still organic. Fifth, wait for sales. Organic brands have tight cash flow, and they do 20 to 30% off sales often. Get on the email list and be patient. Here's what people get dead wrong at the end. They think organic cotton will save the planet. It helps some stuff. Better for soil, better for farm workers. No GMO, no toxic runoff, but it usually uses more water per shirt because the yield is lower. And if that organic tee is grown in Turkey, spun in India, dyed in China, and flown to Los Angeles, the carbon footprint might beat a local conventional tee. There's no perfect shirt. You're picking which trade-off you can live with: water or chemicals, carbon or toxins, farmer health or price. Welcome to being a grown-up. Another lie. People think organic is softer. Not true. Softness comes from fiber length. Egypt and Peru grow some insane long staple conventional cotton that feels like butter. Some organic cotton is short and scratchy. The label does not promise softness. Your hand does. Last thing. Big brands love organic because it is a green premium. They can take a $9 shirt, make it with 10% organic cotton, call it Conscious Collection, and sell it for $19. Their cost went up 50 cents. Your price went up $10. You are paying for the story as much as the fiber. That is not illegal. It is business. But know the game. So when you see that $28 organic tee next to the $6 Hanes, you are not just paying for cotton. You are paying for special seed, for a guy with a hoe in the sun, for a gin shutdown, for a dye house do-over, for a stack of certificates, for a half-empty truck, and for a farmer who took a 3-year pay cut. Worth it or not is your call. Now here is the debate I want to start. America runs on cheap clothes. Families are broke, but farm workers and soil are getting wrecked too. If you had to choose for the whole country, would you rather force a switch to organic cotton and triple the price of every t-shirt, underwear, and bedsheet in Walmart, or keep prices low with conventional cotton and accept the chemical load?